Here is the deepest, most detailed, and simplest summary of Balban's early life, explained like teaching a beginner or child, with full clarity and added examples. Summary of Balban's early life, in the easiest words and full detail. 1. Balban's real name and family. Balban's birth name was Bahauddin. He came from a powerful tribe called the Ilbari Turks, same group as Iltutmish, another ruler of Delhi. His father was a rich and powerful chief called Khan, who ruled over 10,000 families. So Balban was born into a noble and wealthy family. 2. Becoming a slave. When Balban was still a young boy, the Mongols, dangerous warriors from Central Asia, attacked and captured him. They took him to a city called Ghazni in today's Afghanistan. There, they sold him as a slave to a man named Khwaja Jamaluddin from Basra, modern Iraq. 3. Coming to Delhi and getting noticed. That man brought Balban to Delhi, India. In Delhi, the ruler Iltutmish bought Balban as a slave. But Balban wasn't just any slave. He was brilliant, loyal, hardworking, and people noticed him. Iltutmish made him part of a special elite group called the 40 Slaves, trusted officers who helped run the empire. 4. Rising under Razia. Later, Iltutmish's daughter, Razia, became queen. She promoted Balban called Amiri Shikar, meaning Lord of the Hunt. That job meant organizing royal hunting trips and showed high trust. 5. Joining against Razia. Some nobles didn't like Razia because she was a woman. Balban joined those nobles and helped them remove Razia from the throne. This made him even more powerful among the nobles. 6. Getting land and power. The next ruler, Bahram Shah, gave Balban a fief, piece of land, in Rewari, now in Haryana. Soon, he got another Hansi. Balban ruled both areas very wisely. People under him became safe and well-fed. He became known as a strong and fair administrator. 7. Fighting the Mongols. In 1256, the Mongols tried to attack a city named Uch. Balban led an army and forced the Mongols to run away. This made him famous as a warrior and protector of India. 8. Controlling the throne behind the scenes. He helped remove one king, Masood, and supported Nasiruddin Mahmud to become the new king. In 1246, Balban became the king's main advisor. He even married his daughter to the king, making himself royal family. 9. Becoming the real power. Balban got the title Ulugh Khan, Great Lord, and was made Naibi Mamlakat, or Deputy of the Kingdom, like a prime minister or vice king. A man named Rayhan tried to remove him, but failed. After that, Balban became the most powerful man in all of Delhi, even though he was not yet the king. Final understanding. Balban's life is a story of rising from slavery to supreme power. He was born rich, became a slave, but used his brains, bravery, and loyalty to rise again. He became trusted by rulers, fought enemies, managed lands well, and finally became stronger than any noble. His clever politics and strong character made him the true ruler behind the throne, before he eventually became Sultan himself, which comes in the next phase of his life. Let me know if you'd like a visual timeline, a character map, or want to go forward into how he became Sultan and ruled India. I'll explain that with the same deepest clarity and simplicity. Here is a great, deeply detailed, and very simple summary of the passage about Balban's work as Naib and his rise to the throne, explained like you are a total beginner, with all the meaning and context made crystal clear. Summary of Balban's work as Naib and his accession as Sultan, explained in the most simple and detailed way. 1. Balban's role as Naib, deputy ruler. Balban was the Naib, meaning deputy or second in command, of the Delhi Sultanate under Sultan Nasiruddin Mahmud. Even though the Sultan held the title, Balban was the one really controlling everything. He acted like the actual ruler. He used his power not for personal greed, but to strengthen and protect the empire. What he did as Naib, he brought discipline, energy, and strict order to the government. He stopped the kingdom from breaking apart at a time when there were many problems and weak leadership. Many Hindu rulers tried to regain their lost kingdoms and freedom, but Balban defeated them and stopped any rebellion. The Mongols, who were dangerous invaders from Central Asia, were moving toward Delhi, but Balban stopped their advance. In short, Balban acted like a strong wall protecting the Delhi Sultanate. His leadership made the empire stable again. 2. Balban becomes Sultan. His accession to the throne. Balban wanted to become king officially, not just remain a deputy. Sultan Nasir-ud-Din Mahmud had no son, and Balban was already old. He did not want to wait forever. Some famous writers from the past like Ibn Battuta and Izami claimed that Balban gave poison to the king so he could become sultan. However, modern historians think this might not be true. There's no solid proof. Some believe it was just a rumor or gossip. Interestingly, Balban's own son, named Bughra Khan, also hinted that this poisoning story could be true. That makes it more suspicious. Peshawar 3. Balban finally becomes king. In the year 1265, after Sultan Nasir-ud-Din Mahmud died, Balban finally took the throne. Since he already controlled the kingdom, no one could stop him. He gave himself a royal name, Ghiyas-ud-Din Balban, and officially became the Sultan of Delhi. Final simple conclusion. Balban was a very capable, clever, and strong ruler, even before he officially became king. As Naib, he protected the empire, stopped enemies, and managed the administration with power and order. After the weak king died in 1265, Balban became sultan. Some say he might have killed the king, but it's still debated. From this point, Balban began his rule as the official king, one of the most powerful rulers of the Delhi Sultanate. Would you like this summary as a comic strip, timeline, or story format next? Absolutely. Here's a great, deepest, most detailed summary of Balban's restoration of the crown's prestige and his theory of kingship in the simplest and clearest language possible, like teaching a total beginner. Deepest detailed summary, Balban's restoration of the crown's prestige and theory of kingship. 1. Background situation. A weak and disrespected crown. Before Balban became sultan, the Delhi Sultanate was in a terrible condition. The real power was in the hands of Turkish nobles, military lords, not the king. These nobles had disrespected the sultan, king, and acted as if they were equal to him. The earlier sultan, Nasir-ud-Din Mahmud, was treated like a puppet, not feared or respected. People lost respect for the king, no one obeyed orders, and the country became lawless and weak. Historian Ziauddin Barani wrote that the fear of the ruler, which keeps a kingdom strong, had disappeared, and the country was in a wretched state. 2. Balban's goal. Restore royal power and respect. Balban saw that if the king was not respected, the whole kingdom would collapse. So his first and most urgent mission was to bring back the lost glory and power of the crown. He wanted the people to fear and respect the king again, so that the kingdom could become strong and stable. To achieve this, he decided to destroy the power and pride of the Turkish nobles who had become too dominant. 3. Balban's theory of kingship. Rule by fear and divine authority. Balban developed a special theory about kingship, a set of strong beliefs about what a king should be like. A. King is God's chosen person. Balban believed that a king was not just a ruler, but someone who had God's special blessings. He told his son Bughra Khan, "The heart of the king is the special place of God's favor, and no one is equal to him among humans." This belief is very close to the divine right of kings, the idea that God chooses the king, so no one has the right to disobey him. B. The king's person is sacred. Balban believed that the king's body and image were holy. No one could insult or question him. The king had to appear majestic, strict, and untouchable to inspire awe and fear. C. Absolute harsh rule. Balban believed in complete and total power. what is called despotism. Only a powerful and strict king could make people obey and protect the kingdom. He had no belief in sharing power, soft rule, or mercy for rebels or proud nobles. In his view, unalloyed despotism, pure dictatorship, was the only way to ensure law, order, and strength in the state. 4. What he actually did. To put this theory into action, Balban crushed the Turkish nobles' power, even though he was once one of them, punished harshly anyone who challenged royal authority, built a royal image of strictness, majesty, and fear, avoided jokes, laughter in public to maintain king's dignity, introduced royal customs like bowing, sita, and kissing the king's feet, paibos, to show the king's superiority. Final essence, in one line. Balban believed that only a king who is seen as chosen by God, feared like a strict master, and treated as superior to all others can protect and rule a kingdom successfully. If you'd like, I can also create a comic strip or mind map for this. Make a table of beliefs versus actions, or simplify this further into a story format. Just tell me how you'd like to learn it next. Here is a great, deepest, and detailed summary of the passage about Balban's efforts to restore power and prestige, explained in the simplest words possible, like a complete beginner or child. Great, deep summary. Balban restores royal power and dignity. The problem. Before Balban became sultan, the power and respect of the Delhi Sultanate had completely collapsed. The sultan was seen as weak and ordinary, not as a strong king. People, even nobles, did not fear or respect the king anymore. The Turkish nobles behaved like equals to the king, and this caused disorder and disrespect everywhere. What Balban wanted. Balban understood that to rule a kingdom successfully, the king must be respected, even feared. He believed that the king should be seen as someone special, chosen by God, far above common people. He followed a theory like divine kingship, meaning the king is God's chosen man, and no one is equal to him. So Balban made it his goal to bring back the dignity and power of the crown, to make the throne great again. What he did to build prestige. 1. Claimed royal bloodline, said he was descended from Afrasiab, a legendary Turkish hero. This made him look like a natural-born king, not a common man. 2. Became serious and distant. He always kept a grave, very serious face, stopped drinking wine, avoided parties, and never smiled in public. He avoided meeting common people, or even minor nobles. He acted like a very holy, powerful figure who must not be disturbed. 3. Created a royal atmosphere, designed the royal court to be like Persian and Central Asian kings, set strict rules of dress, behavior, and speech, appointed tall, scary bodyguards who stood with swords drawn beside him. Everyone in court had to do sijda, lie flat on the ground, or paibos, kiss his feet, to greet him. No one could laugh or smile in his court. 4. Started new ceremonies. Introduced the Persian festival Nowroz to add royal beauty and celebration. He forbade wine drinking for all his nobles and gave them a special uniform and strict behavior code. Personal sacrifices for royal image. Even when his own son Muhammad died, Balban stayed calm in public and continued his duties. In private, he cried bitterly, but he never showed weakness in front of others. He rejected a very rich merchant who wanted to donate all his wealth because Balban disliked people of low birth, no matter how rich. The result. By following all these strict rules, Balban brought back royal power and glory to the Sultanate. People feared and obeyed the king once again. The Delhi Sultanate became one of the strongest Muslim kingdoms, even surviving Mongol attacks, while others were destroyed. Balban's rule became known for order, control, dignity, and royal greatness. Final thought. Balban believed a ruler must be feared, respected, distant, and disciplined. He gave up comfort, joy, and even public emotions to protect the dignity of the crown. Through strict behavior, royal customs, and a strong personality, he made the Sultanate respected again in India and beyond. Would you like a visual mind map of this summary? a timeline or character sketch of Balban, or a comic strip version of this summary. I'm ready to help however you learn best. Here is a great, deepest, and most summary of Balban's destruction of the 40 in the simplest and clearest language possible, with full explanation of ideas, causes, actions, and outcomes, like teaching a total beginner or child. The destruction of the 40 by Balban. From the Delhi Sultanate history during Balban rule, 13th century CE. Who or what was the 40? Was a group of 40 powerful Turkish nobles called Chahalgani in Persian. These nobles were originally slaves of Sultan Iltutmish, trained by him, and promoted to high posts like governors, army chiefs, and ministers. Over time, they became extremely powerful and started controlling the Delhi Sultanate. After Iltutmish died, his successors were weak. The 40 used this chance to take full control and treat the Sultan like a puppet. These nobles divided all lands and powerful jobs among themselves, weakening the king. Think of it like the king becomes a showpiece, while his assistants become the real rulers. Who was Balban? Balban, ruled 1260 CE, was a son of the Delhi Sultanate. He was once a slave too, but rose to power through loyalty, skill, and hard work. When he became king, he wanted full control, to rule like an absolute monarch. No interference from nobles. But the power of the 40 stood in his way. Why did Balban destroy the 40? 1. To strengthen the throne. He wanted the Sultan, king, to be respected and feared, not controlled like a puppet. 2. To remove threats. The 40 were like mini-kings in different regions. Some of them could become rebels or rivals. 3. To secure his future family's rule. He wanted to pass the throne to his sons, but knew the 40 could remove or control them. How did Balban destroy the 40? Step-by-step breakdown. Balban followed a clever and cruel plan to weaken and destroy the 40. Step 1. Promoted new people. He gave high positions to younger and junior Turks who were loyal to him. These people were made equal in power to the old nobles. This reduced the special status of the 40, like giving power to new staff so the old powerful staff don't dominate anymore. Step 2. Harsh punishments, even for small mistakes. Balban punished nobles publicly for even small wrongdoings. This made the people lose respect for those nobles. It made the message clear: the king is boss, not the nobles. Step 3. Brutal examples to create fear. Malik Bakbak, governor of Badon, he beat one of his servants to death. Balban ordered him to be whipped in public. People were shocked, a top noble getting such punishment. Haibat Khan, governor of Awad, he killed a man while drunk. Balban gave him 500 lashes, whip strokes. He then gave him to the victim's widow. Haibat Khan paid 20,000 tankas to the widow and stayed hidden in shame till he died. Amin Khan, another governor, he was defeated in Bengal by Tugril, a rebel. Balban ordered him to be hanged publicly at the gate of Ayodhya city. Sher Khan, Balban's own cousin. Sher Khan was very powerful and ambitious, governing 4 major regions. Balban felt jealous and afraid of his growing power. He secretly poisoned Sher Khan to remove him permanently. Final result: by these cruel, smart, and public actions, Balban destroyed the unity and power of the 40, removed or silenced their top members, created fear and respect for the throne, made himself the most powerful sultan of his time. There were no more major threats left to stop his rule. He became a true despot, a ruler with absolute control. Ultimate lesson, in simple words. Balban saw that the real enemies of the king were not outsiders, but the powerful nobles inside the kingdom. He cleverly broke their power one by one using smart political tricks, promoting juniors, strong punishments, public floggings and hangings, and even secret killings, like poisoning. His goal: make the king supreme again. His method: no mercy, no kindness, only discipline and fear. Remember with this analogy. Imagine a strict school principal Balban takes over a school where 40 naughty senior students, the 40, are running the school instead of the teachers. The principal brings new disciplined students, junior Turks, punishes the senior bullies harshly in front of everyone, and even removes their leader secretly. After that, everyone fears and obeys the principal, and no one dares to challenge him again. Would you like this turned into a comic strip, timeline, or mind map for memory? Sure. Here's a deep, detailed, and very simple summary of Balban's spy system, written in the clearest and most beginner-friendly way, like telling a full story in easy English. Summary of Balban's spy system: deep, detailed, and simple. Balban, a powerful ruler of the Delhi Sultanate, wanted to rule his empire with full control and strict authority. His rule was based on despotism, which means one-man rule, where no one can question the king, not the nobles, not the governors, not even top army officers. But how could Balban maintain such tight control over such a large empire? He knew that to keep power in his hands, he needed to know everything happening in the capital, in far-off provinces, and even in small towns. If anyone was secretly planning to rebel, become too powerful, or disobey the king, Balban had to find out immediately. To solve this, Balban built one of the most powerful spy systems in medieval Indian history. What did Balban do? 1. He created a secret spy network. He placed hidden reporters and secret news writers across his entire empire. These spies were planted in every department of the government, in every province, big area, in every district, smaller areas. 2. He made sure his spies were trustworthy. Balban carefully checked the character and loyalty of each spy. Only faithful and brave people were chosen. He made sure these spies worked only for him, the king, did not report to local officers, were free from the influence of governors or military commanders. 3. He paid them well. Balban gave high salaries to his spies. This way, they didn't take bribes from others. They stayed loyal because the king rewarded their honesty. 4. He made them report daily. Spies were told to send news to the king every day. They had to report any suspicious or illegal activity, misbehavior by officers, secret plans of nobles, any disturbances or rebellions. 5. He punished failure very harshly. If any spy failed to report important information or hid the truth, Balban gave terrible punishment. Real example. A newswriter from Balban didn't report the wrong actions of an officer named Malik Bakbak. When Balban found out, he was so angry that he hanged the spy publicly over the city gate. This sent a clear warning. If you don't do your job, you will face death. Why was this spy system important? Balban's spy system was not just about watching people. It was the main tool of his despotic rule. It helped him control his nobles and governors, catch rebels before they grew strong, remove corruption in government offices, stay informed about everything, build a fearsome reputation. People were afraid to disobey him. This system allowed Balban to rule like a lion, strong, alert, and always in command. In short, Balban built a powerful spy system across the empire. He filled his government with trusted secret reporters. They worked only for him and reported every day. He gave them good pay and freedom from local control. Anyone who failed was severely punished. This spy network helped him stay in complete control and made his rule very strong and feared. Final analogy. Think of Balban as the principal of a huge school, and he has placed a secret monitor in every class, office, and hallway. These monitors report directly to him every day. If any student, teacher, or staff does something wrong, the principal knows immediately. If any monitor lies or hides something, they are punished in front of the school. As a result, everyone stays in discipline, and no one dares to rebel. Would you like a comic strip of this summary next, or a short poem or story version to help remember it better? Here is a great, deep, and detailed summary of Balban's reorganization of the army, in the simplest words, with added explanations for perfect understanding, like learning from the best teacher in the world. Deep, detailed summary. Balban's reorganization of the army. Sultan Balban, one of the strongest rulers of the Delhi Sultanate, knew that to rule with absolute power, despotism, he needed a strong and loyal army. A king without control over his soldiers could be overthrown or ignored. So, the army was the backbone of his rule. That's why Balban made it his top priority to fix the army. Old system, land for military service, before Balban. Since the time of Kup-ud-Din Aybak, Turkish soldiers were paid not in cash, but with land. These pieces of land were called ikta, or military land grants. The idea was, the soldier would live off the land, and in return, serve in the army when called. Iltutmish continued this practice, giving many such land grants to soldiers. Over time, this system became corrupt and lazy. The original soldiers died, and their children and grandchildren kept the land. But these descendants did not serve in the army anymore. They treated the land as their personal property, not as something tied to military duty. Many sent weak, untrained men, called proxies, to fight on their behalf. Some didn't send anyone at all, but still collected income from the land. Balban's reforms, fixing a broken system. Balban understood that this system no longer worked. So he decided to investigate and fix it. 1. He ordered a full inquiry. He checked who had military land. Were they actually performing army service? Were they fit to fight? 2. What he discovered shocked him. Many landowners were old, sick, or too weak to fight. Some lands were held by widows and orphans who could not serve at all. Some sent proxy fighters who were often poorly trained or unfit. 3. His changes, reforms. Land was taken away from old men who couldn't fight, widows and orphans, but they were not thrown out. He gave them pensions money to live on. Young and healthy men could keep serving, but they would not collect taxes from the land themselves. Instead, the government collected tax and gave the soldiers cash salaries. He completely banned the use of proxy soldiers. This was a bold and modern step. Balban wanted to create a professional army, men who were trained, ready, and directly paid by the king, not lazy landowners who sent others to fight. Reaction. People got angry. The landholders, especially the old ones, were very unhappy. They protested and complained. They went to Fakhruddin, an old Kotwal, police chief of Delhi, and a friend of Balban. He requested the Sultan to be kind to the old men. Out of respect and friendship, Balban cancelled that part of the order. Final outcome. What worked and what failed. Balban's reforms were not fully successful. The land grant system, Ikuta system, continued for many people. He was forced to allow old men to keep their land. But one major success, he stopped the practice of proxy soldiers, which greatly improved military discipline and quality. Conclusion, in simple points. Balban tried to create a stronger, cleaner, and loyal army. He wanted to end corruption in the military system. His plan was to pay soldiers in cash, not land. But due to pressure and old customs, the plan was only partially successful. Still, he made important improvements in army discipline. Real-life analogy. Think of a school where teachers are paid with free houses instead of salary. Over years, their grandchildren live in those houses but don't teach anymore. The school has no real teachers left. So the new principal says, old or non-teachers can't keep free houses anymore. I'll give them money to live. Only young, active teachers can stay, and I will pay them directly in cash. That's exactly what Balban tried to do with the army. Would you like this turned into a comic, story form, or a visual chart? Absolutely. Here's a great, deep, and detailed summary of the passage you shared, in the simplest language possible, like teaching a total beginner or child, with all key points, extra context, and examples added for full understanding. Deep, detailed summary. Balban's army reforms through Imadul Mulk. Who was involved? Sultan Balban, the powerful ruler of the Delhi Sultanate. Imadul Mulk, a very skilled and watchful officer chosen by Balban to manage the army. What did Balban do? Balban wanted a strong, disciplined, and trustworthy army to keep full control over his empire and crush any rebellions. To do this, 1. He appointed Imad-ul-Mulk as the army minister, also called Diwan-i-Ariz. This was a special title in Persian. 2. He gave Imad complete control over the army, independent of the finance minister, which means Imad didn't need to wait for approval from other ministers to spend money on the army. What were Imad-ul-Mulk's duties? Imad-ul-Mulk did 3 very important things to improve the army. 1. Recruitment. He carefully chose the right people to become soldiers. Only fit, loyal, and brave men were selected. 2. Salary. He made sure soldiers were paid regularly. This kept soldiers happy, loyal, and willing to fight. 3. Equipment. He gave the soldiers proper weapons, horses, armor, and clothes. This made them ready for battle anytime. What else did he do? He enforced strict discipline. Soldiers had to follow rules strictly. No laziness or carelessness was allowed. Those who broke rules were punished. He followed honest and wise policies. No corruption. No favoritism. He worked fairly, and soldiers trusted his leadership. Did Balban change the army system completely? No. There was no big revolution or total overhaul in the army. The structure of the army was mostly the same as before. But what changed was Balban's watchful eye on everything, his strict control and no-nonsense attitude, Imad's attention to even small matters, like checking if weapons were sharp, horse.
Sure, here is a detailed summary of the entire topic in the simplest, clearest, and easiest to I'm teaching a beginner with no background in history. Great detailed summary. Suppression of rebellions by the slave rulers and Balban. Background. What happened before? A powerful king named Muhammad of Ghor conquered many parts of India in the late 1100s. After he died in 1206, his empire started to break apart. His former slave became the new ruler of Delhi. He and the rulers after him were called the Slave Dynasty, also called Mamluks or Turkish rulers. These rulers ruled from 1206 to 1290 AD. The last of them was Kaikabad, who died in 1290. What was the problem? The land that Muhammad of Ghor had conquered was not stable. After his death, many parts were lost again. Local Hindu rulers took their land back and didn't want to follow Delhi's rule anymore. So instead of getting new land, the slave rulers spent their time fighting rebellions, taking back old land, trying to keep control. Think of it like this. If you are trying to carry a basket full of water, but it has holes, you will waste your energy trying to stop the leaks, not adding more water. The role of Balban, 1266 to 1287 AD, Balban became one of the strongest rulers of the slave dynasty. He was a smart, serious, and realistic king. When he became ruler, he had to decide, 1, should he expand the empire and conquer new land? 2, or should he fix the existing problems and make the kingdom stronger? Some of his nobles and advisors told him, let's attack Hindu kings. Let's take more land. Balban's smart choice. But Balban said no. He was very realistic. He thought deeply and understood the risks. If he tried to conquer new places, the Mongols, fierce warriors from Central Asia, might attack Delhi. Internal enemies and rebellions could grow. The kingdom could become weak from inside and outside. So Balban made a wise decision. He did not try to conquer new lands. He focused on regaining lost lands, controlling rebellions, strengthening the administration, making the kingdom safe and stable. This idea is called consolidation, which means making your existing empire stronger, safer, and better managed. Summary in very simple points. 1. After Muhammad of Ghur died, many parts of his empire were lost. 2. The rulers of the slave dynasty were busy fighting rebellions and recovering old lands, not expanding. 3. Balban became king and had to choose between expanding or protecting. 4. He chose to protect, not expand, because expansion was risky. 5. He worked hard to stop rebellions, defend Delhi, and make the kingdom stable. Final thought. Balban understood something very important. A strong kingdom is better than a big, weak one. He chose strength and safety over size, and that was a smart and realistic decision for his time. Would you like a simple chart, a story-style version, or explanation of how exactly Balban suppressed the rebellions and kept order? I can explain that too, step by step. Here is a great detailed summary of the passage you gave, written in very simple, clear, and deep language so that anyone can summary in simple words and great detail. After the death of the powerful Turkish ruler Muhammad Ghori, the situation in India began to change. The local Indian people, especially patriots and warriors like the Rajputs, saw this as a chance to fight back against foreign rule. Across many parts of northern India, the Indian people stood up against Turkish foreign rule. They no longer wanted to live under the control of Turkish governors and soldiers who collected taxes and ruled harshly. So they started a strong and organized resistance. Here's what they did. 1. Expelled Turkish rulers. In many regions, local people threw out the Turkish officers and armies. They freed themselves from foreign control. We call this throwing off the Turkish yoke. Yoke means a burden or something that controls you, like what is put on oxen to pull a cart. 2. Destroyed land and economy on purpose. The people followed a smart strategy. They didn't just fight, they damaged lands controlled by the Turks. They stopped farming so the government couldn't get food or tax. They plundered Turkish areas, which means they robbed and destroyed them. Why? So that the Turks could not collect money, revenue, or grow crops, and therefore could not rule successfully. 3. Non-stop rebellion in many areas. In important areas like the Doab, land between Ganga and Yamuna rivers, and Awadh in Uttar Pradesh, there was constant rebellion. The government had zero control. In Kathar, now called Rohilkhand, Turkish officers couldn't even collect a single coin of tax. 4. Rajputs, brave warriors using guerrilla tactics. The Rajputs, who were fierce Indian warriors, caused lots of problems for the Turkish rulers. They made roads dangerous by robbing people. They had secret bases in places like Badaun, Amroha, Patiali, and Kampil. From these bases, they would come out, loot, attack farmers and travelers, and then quickly return to their hideouts. This made the countryside very unsafe for anyone who supported the Turks. Even the capital, Delhi, was unsafe. Robbers were everywhere, even around Delhi, the capital city of the Turkish rulers. These robbers would attack people every day. The city was so unsafe that the gates of Delhi had to be shut early in the afternoon for protection. Ash 6, worse conditions in distant provinces. In Bengal, Bihar, and Rajasthan, the situation was even worse. The Turkish government had almost no control there. These regions were full of rebels and chaos. 7. Clever strategy, but no strong leadership. The Indian resistance used a very smart policy to keep disturbing and destroying Turkish rule before it could become strong again. The goal was to never let the Turks feel safe or settle down in India again, but there was no single strong Indian leader who could unite all the fighters and rebels. Because of this, they could not gather a big army. They also couldn't completely defeat or remove the Turks from India. Final thoughts, super easy version. Indian people rebelled strongly against Turkish rulers after Muhammad Ghori's death. They kicked the Turks out of many places and ruined their ability to collect tax or grow food. Rajput warriors led smart attacks and made life very hard for the Turks. Even the capital, Delhi, was full of robbers. Faraway states were worse, with no law and order. Indians had a smart plan, but no strong leader to unite them all, so they couldn't completely win. Would you like a timeline, map, or infographic style summary of this next? Absolutely. Here is a great, deepest, and most detailed summary of the passage you gave, written in the simplest, clearest, and most powerful way, so that anyone, even a beginner, can fully understand the story of Balban's suppression of rebellions. Detailed summary: Balban's harsh fight to control rebellions. Background: when Ghiyasuddin Balban became Sultan, King of Delhi, in 1266 CE, North India was in complete chaos. Many Hindu chieftains, Rajput leaders, and local rulers become rebellious. Turkish rule, the Delhi Sultanate, was very weak in many areas. People had thrown off Turkish control in most parts of northern India. The countryside was full of robbers, rebels, and independent leaders. Even close to Delhi, robbers looted people almost every day. Balban's big challenge. Balban faced a huge problem: how to bring law, order, and control back into the land. Should he try to expand the empire, or should he just try to save what was left? Balban chose wisely. Let me first stop the rebellions and bring safety back. But this was not easy. It was a stupendous, very big and difficult task. What were the rebellions like? In Doab, land between Ganga and Yamuna rivers, and Awadh, rebellions never stopped. Now Rohilkhand, no taxes could be collected. Turkish officers had no control. Rajputs attacked roads, robbed travellers, and scared farmers away from the fields. Places like Badaun, Amroha, Patiali, and Kampil were strong Rajput rebel centres. Even near Delhi, robbers were everywhere. City gates had to be closed early for safety. In far places like Bengal, Bihar, and Rajasthan, the condition was even worse. Local Hindu leaders used a clever policy. They kept plundering, burning lands, and stopping farming, so the Turks could never grow strong again. But they had one big weakness. They had no united leader and no teamwork, so they couldn't completely remove the Turks. Balban's strong response, step by step. 1. Securing Delhi and nearby villages, year 1. Balban started with the land around Delhi. He punished robbers harshly, cleared forests where rebels were hiding, built 4 forts around Delhi, placed fierce Afghan soldiers inside the forts to guard the area. Result: the land around the capital became safe again. 2. Campaign in Doab and Awadh, year 2. Balban went to Doab and Awadh next. He divided the land into zones, sent strong officers with full powers, ordered them to clear jungles, defeat local Hindu chieftains, destroy their bands of rebels. He built army bases, posts at Pojapur, Patiali, Kampil, Jalali. Again, these bases had Afghan soldiers known for their bravery and toughness. 3. Terrifying campaign. Balban's next move was in Katihar, Rohilkhand. This was the worst and most rebellious area. What did he do there? He used brutal violence. Ordered his army to burn villages, kill all adult males, enslave women and children, leave dead bodies lying around, depopulate the area so no rebels could hide again. His goal: strike fear into everyone's hearts. According to historian Barani, the people of Katihar never raised their heads again. After this, the region became safe for farmers, travellers, and tax officers. Expeditions to Rajputana and Bundelkhand. Balban sent his army to control Rajputana, Rajasthan, and Bundelkhand, central India. But here, the local Rajput rulers were very powerful. The land was hard to control. Balban's army had only partial success. So, though some rebels were beaten, many still stayed active. Overall result: Balban did not increase the Sultanate territory, but he worked hard to keep control over old land, punish rebels harshly, make the countryside safe again. But this peace came at a great human cost. Many innocent lives were lost. one line each.
Point.
Balban's goal, stop rebellions and bring back law and order. Delhi's condition, surrounded by robbers, rebels, and danger. Year 1, forts built, robbers punished around Delhi. Year 2, attacked rebels in Doab and Awad. Qatar brutally destroyed villages and enslaved people. Afghan troops, fierce and loyal soldiers used for fear. Rajpatan and Bundelkhand, partially controlled, not fully successful. Peace brought by fear, not love. If you now want a comic strip, timeline, or infographic of this summary, I can create that too. Just let me know. Here is a deepest, most detailed summary of the recovery of Bengal by Balban, written in a clear, easy-to-understand way, but full of rich details, like the best history book, told like a story. Titled The Recovery of Bengal, Balban's Fierce Response to Rebellion. Time period around the year 1279 CE. Main people involved: Balban, Sultan, King of Delhi; Tughril Khan, Governor of Bengal who rebelled; Amin Khan, Governor of Awad sent to stop the rebellion; Termit, another general sent to Bengal; Bughra Khan, Balban's second son; Bektas, officer who captured and executed Tughril. Background context. During the late 13th century, the Delhi Sultanate was facing many internal and external threats. The Mongols were attacking from the northwest. Balban, the Sultan, was getting old. Bengal was far away from Delhi and always difficult to control. The region of Bengal was rich and full of resources, which made governors there very powerful. So, in 1279 CE, the stage was set for a major rebellion. Beginning of the rebellion. Tughril Khan, who was the governor of Bengal, had earlier accepted Balban's authority. But now, seeing that Balban was old, the Mongols were attacking from another side, and the centre Delhi was distracted, Tughril decided to break away from the Sultan's rule and become king himself. What did Tughril Khan do? Tughril openly rebelled and showed it in three major symbolic ways. 1. Declared himself Sultan. This was a public and political statement. 2. Struck coins in his own name. Only kings could issue coins. Doing this meant I am the ruler now. 3. Read khutbah, Friday prayer speech, in his name. In Islamic tradition, having the khutbah read in your name confirmed your authority. All of this was like a loud announcement. I am no longer under Delhi. I am the king of Bengal now. Balban's reaction. Balban was extremely angry, but instead of going himself at first, he tried to send armies to Bengal. One first army, led by Amin Khan, governor of Awad. Tughril defeated Amin Khan in battle. Balban was so furious that he had Amin Khan hanged in public over the gate of Awad city. This act was done to set an example for other commanders. Failure is unacceptable. 2. Second army, led by Termiti. Tughril defeated this army as well. 3. Third army also lost. The soldiers were beaten and driven away. After 3 failed attempts, Balban's patience ended. He decided, I will go myself and crush this rebellion. Balban's final and personal campaign. Balban made serious preparations for war. He gathered a massive army of 2 lakh soldiers, 200,000 men. He took his second son, Bughra Khan, with him. He marched toward Bengal, heading to Lucknow, the capital of Bengal. When Tughril heard about this powerful army and that Balban was personally coming, he got scared and ran away from Lucknow. He fled deep into East Bengal, near today's Dhaka in Bangladesh. End of Tughril, capture and death. Balban's forces chased Tughril all the way to Sonargaon, near Dhaka. A military officer named Bektas finally caught Tughril far away at Hajinagar in East Bengal. Tughril was executed on the spot by Bektas. Thus, the rebellion ended, though, and Bengal was brought back under Delhi's control. What this shows: meaning and lessons. 1. Balban's firm rule. He was not soft or weak. He believed in strict discipline and brutal punishment for rebels. Even senior officers like Amin Khan were not spared. 2. Strong central authority. Balban showed that no governor, no matter how far away or powerful, could break free from Delhi. He kept the Delhi Sultanate united. 3. Use of fear and force. Balban used fear, loyalty, and personal action to crush the rebellion. His personal involvement showed how serious the matter was. Final summary in one powerful paragraph. In 1279, when Bengal's governor Tughril Khan tried to declare himself king, Balban, the powerful but aging Sultan of Delhi, responded with brutal determination. After 3 failed military expeditions, Balban personally led a massive army, accompanied by his son, to crush the rebellion. Tughril fled, but was hunted down and executed. This campaign not only restored Bengal to the Sultanate, but also sent a strong warning to all other governors. Rebellion would be met with ruthless force, and no one was above Balban's authority. Would you like a comic strip version or a timeline diagram for this too? Absolutely. Here's the greatest, deepest, most detailed summary of the entire passage, explained in simple, clear language, yet with rich insight, like the best history teacher guiding you step by step. Detailed summary of Balban's revenge on Tughril and his followers. Who was involved? Sultan Balban, a powerful, strict and disciplined ruler of the Delhi Sultanate, ruled 1266 to 1287 CE. He believed in strong rule, harsh punishments, and absolute loyalty. Tughril Khan, a governor appointed by Balban to rule over Bengal. He betrayed Balban by declaring independence and rebelling. Bughra Khan, Balban's second son, later appointed as the new governor of Bengal after Tughril's defeat. Where did this happen? Lucknow, in present-day Bengal, a major city where Tughril ruled and the rebellion happened. Delhi, the capital of Balban's empire, from where he ruled most of northern India. The story in deep detail. 1. The rebellion and Balban's anger. Tughril Khan, governor of Bengal, rebelled against Sultan Balban. He declared himself king, stopped listening to Balban, and acted like an independent ruler. This infuriated Balban, who saw it as a direct attack on his authority. Insight. In medieval times, the empire was held together by fear and loyalty. A rebellion by a governor could inspire others to do the same, and Balban wanted to stop that immediately. 2. Balban crushes the rebellion. Balban marched to Bengal with his army. Tughril was defeated and killed. Balban wanted to make an example of Tughril's followers so no one else would dare rebel. 3. A city turned into a horror show. In Lucknow, Balban ordered a mass public punishment. Along a 2-mile-long street, sharp wooden stakes were placed. Hundreds of Tughril supporters were impaled. They were put on those sharp stakes and killed. This was done in the main bazaar, where everyone would see it. Insight. Balban used terror as a tool of control. Instead of killing people quietly, he turned it into a public warning. 4. People's reactions. The scene was so terrifying that many people fainted just by looking at it. Even hardened soldiers and regular citizens had never seen anything so horrifying. Insight. Balban didn't care about being loved. He wanted to be feared. His message was clear. Rebel, and this will happen to you. 5. A new governor is appointed. After punishing the rebels, Balban made his second son, Bughra Khan, the new governor of Bengal. He gave his son a very serious warning. If you or any other governor in Hind, Sindh, Malwa, Gujarat, or any province ever rebel like Tughril did, the punishment will be just as terrible. Not only the rebel, but their wives, children, friends, and soldiers will also be punished. Insight. Balban didn't just punish rebellion, he wanted to prevent future rebellions. His warning included everyone connected to the rebel to scare all levels of society. 6. Balban returns to Delhi. After setting things right in Bengal, Balban returned to Delhi, the capital. He believed Bengal was now completely loyal and wouldn't dare rise again. Insight. Balban's goal was long-term stability. He didn't just win a war, he wanted to control the minds of people through fear. 7. Punishing the traitors in his own army. Some soldiers from Balban's own army had deserted and joined Tughril during the rebellion. These traitors were now caught and brought to Balban. He planned to punish them as cruelly as he did Tughril's supporters. 8. A Qazi, Islamic judge, begs for mercy. A Qazi, a religious scholar and judge, intervened. He asked Balban to show mercy and justice, not just cruelty. Balban listened and softened his punishment. A rare move for him. 9. Different levels of punishment. Balban divided the deserters into 3 groups. Common soldiers, ordinary people, forgiven. Middle-level people, like officials or commanders, punished for a short time. High-ranking officers, thrown into prison. Some top officers were paraded on buffaloes through Delhi. This was meant to humiliate them publicly. Insight. Balban used both fear and shame to punish people. Public humiliation was as powerful as death for those in power. Why is this important? 1. It shows how medieval empires were held together, not by kindness but by strict discipline and fear. 2. Balban believed in absolute control. Loyalty was everything. He punished not only traitors, but also anyone connected to them. 3. He used public punishment as a tool of psychological warfare, making others too afraid to rebel. 4. He still listened to religious leaders when asked, showing that he could balance cruelty with calculated mercy, but only when it helped him politically. Final thought, Balban's actions in Bengal weren't just about punishing one rebel. They were part of a larger strategy to crush rebellion at the roots, prevent any future uprisings, and establish complete authority over his empire. His message to every ruler, soldier, and citizen was, if you even think about rebelling, remember Tughril. Look at what happened to him and his men. That will be your future too. Would you like a comic-style illustration of these events, a timeline diagram, or a storytelling version like a children's tale? Just say the word. I'm here to make it as easy and powerful as possible.